Just like that. Super easy. Yeah, that should be it. And what time are you leaving?
I'm here till 1, and then Emma put me on for printing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know where that is?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Sounds good. Thank you very much.
We ask the audience next to immediately following the question and answer. The clicker is right there, and you guys can begin with your answers.
Do you remember those Blockbuster nights? You know, Friday night, you go down to the video store with your family, you rent the latest VHS, and then in the morning you rewind it, bring it back up to the store. You know, it was a great time, but you know, those fond memories are a little ways back, right? Because Blockbuster, although they were a leader in the industry at the time, they remained stagnant and fell by the wayside. Today, Garmin is a leader in its respective industry. But without some changes, and without looking towards the future, it as well may be susceptible to fall by the wayside and no longer be as relevant or as important as it is. Today, our dynamic recommendation is going to increase revenues up to $4.4 billion from where it is now. My name is Liam. These are my colleagues, Emily and Braxton, and we are Atlas Consulting. We have an agenda for your viewing here at any point in time. And so the problem that we're looking at today, or the business opportunity rather that I see, is how can Garmin stay relevant in the rapidly changing GPS marketplace? From here, Braxton's going to take you through some of the drivers for this problem.
All right, so underneath our primary problem, we have a few other drivers. So your share price has been declining, so the value of your company as well as investors' outlook on it has been decreasing as the marketplace has been getting more complicated and more players are in it with the new smartphones and the ease of GPS technology, since someone can own it and everyone has access to it. And so that relates to competition as well. So because of the ease of that, there's many more strong players such as Apple that are competing on you in different areas that you have for your business. And so as well, your factory utilization is a big problem. So you had very variable rates of your factory utilization, so that is obviously not very profitable. It's not a good thing to have a factory operating at 30% some of the time and at 100% some of the time. So we need to stabilize that to help make it much more profitable moving forward and make sure that you guys aren't at risk of having bottlenecks and losing revenue there. So moving forward, our recommendation is going to be the super highway. So we're going to audit and refine the factory processes that you currently have. We're going to invest tons of money into research and development into new technology, as well as making sure your current technology is much more forward for the future. And we're going to make sure that we're focused on consumer segmenting, targeting, and positioning. So given the complicated industry with many players, we need to make sure that we have defined areas so we're not mistakenly competing with Apple for an Apple Watch 50 20. So we need to make sure that's clear. Now, Emily will move forward into some analysis for you guys.
Alright, so first I'd like to start off with just the industry itself, some of the opportunities that will be here for you. So first, we have growth. This market, ever since they opened it up for anyone to use, it's seen rapid growth in this industry. This is what it's at as of 2016. Accessibility, same thing, can be used by anyone. Anyone can access this. It's easy to access. And we've also seen a lot of smartphone technology recently becoming available. All smartphones come with GPS now, so this is something that's becoming more and more available to everyone. And safety. GPS is something that can be accessed anywhere, anytime, in any weather. It's used for a lot of safety and rescue type things. So you're going hiking, let's say you can't get any signal on your smartphone, GPS is something that's still going to be working for you, and that's something that we'll be addressing later in a recommendation for you. And your markets, it's used in a lot of different areas. You can use aviation, marine, automotive, in the smartwatches, or as the fitness watches and fitness trackers. And as well, these fitness watches are becoming increasingly popular and are something that is becoming increasingly demanded by consumers. So for you, for Garmin, what do you provide to your customers? You have a wide range of product lines that are both B2B and B2C, so you appeal to a very wide range of people in that segment. And as well, the quality of your products, because of your in-house manufacturing and that you own all your own factories, all your own facilities, that really shows your consumers the quality of your products and the service that they can get aftermarket once they purchase them. Something goes Your competition, again, you're talking about that free apps for mobile, and as well as Apple and Fitbit and all those companies that are doing those smartwatches. I'll have them come up and go through some of the financial analysis for you.
Okay, so the first thing we looked at when we were taking a look at the numbers was your 5 different product categories here to really see if all 5 were really viable going in the future and whether or not you needed to keep all of them or to refine the processes away. And so the really outstanding one that we saw here was that your automobile area was experiencing negative growth over the past couple of years. And that was a little bit alarming, and it really is going into the future. However, there is absolutely no reason that we see to necessarily cut that area, considering it still is the largest percentage of operating income of your 5 areas there. Moving forward into the next piece of financial analysis here, we also see no need to sell your factory and capital there in order to move towards that outsourcing that had previously been suggested. And the reason for that is that Garmin is not cash poor. With a current ratio of 2.3 and $8.47 million in cash and cash equivalents, there's definitely no need to try to increase the cash in your balance sheet in order to try to become more liquid. And then furthermore, outsourcing takes away the ability for Garmin to seem more authentic, particularly in the North American markets, where it's definitely seen as a benefit to do your own manufacturing as opposed to outsource to other manufacturers, and then you don't actually know where the product is particularly coming from. And then the third part here is the decreasing share price, the share price being half this year what it was last year. Really, it seems alarming, and it does reflect consumer confidence, but with our recommendation today, the new innovation that's really going to be focused of the company moving forward is going to boost that consumer confidence. We believe that the share price definitely reflects the consumer's thoughts that Garmin may be becoming stagnant and not really looking forward to the future, and so that's definitely something that should be fixed going into the future. So, when we were making our decision today, we came up with 3 decision criteria, which would really be the pillars which our decision stood on, and the alternatives fell away too. So the first being, we want to focus on future sustainability, and we've almost beat this to death, but it's really going into the future. That's always where we need to be looking. The second being product differentiation. There's a lot of different GPS-type products in the market, particularly wearables. You see the Fitbit and the Apple Watch, that kind of thing. And so, Garmin's going to really find a way to differentiate its product. And then the third would be that the factory efficiency is improved as there was an opportunity you guys saw in order to reduce costs there. So the first alternative we came up with and ultimately rejected was that the manufacturing facility would be sold and then outsourced to Flextronics. And so again, here what we saw as an advantage that it would increase the product efficiency by a significant percentage. However, the disadvantages, it really doesn't respond to the needs of the market. And then there's also no product change offerings to draw people in. So for those reasons, this one was rejected. So moving forward, we have the second rejected alternative, and it was a full redesign of the product line. So here what we see as the advantage is that it does offer the new products to the market. It may intrigue consumers to come in and buy Garmin. However, it doesn't solve any of the factory inefficiencies, and really the biggest part is that it doesn't create a precedent to always be looking forward into the future. It's just a singular change of the products. So for those reasons, we rejected this one as well. Which comes to our third alternative, which is our recommendation ultimately, which is kind of, it fits on all 3 sections here. It's going to focus on sustainability, really creating new innovative products, and then targeting new markets and working with facilities. So the main disadvantage there is that there would be a large initial investment, but from our point of view here, you can't afford not to spend money in order to look towards the future. So here again we have the recommendation reiterated, and Braxton is going to take you through the first part of our implementation.
All right, so we told you what you want to do for you here, now we're going to tell you how we're going to do it. And so you outlined what you believe the vision of Garmin was at the time, and so we think that with our recommendation, we need a bit of a different vision, a vision that really is going to push you towards the future. And so So that is right here. So we think you need to be the trusted world leader in GPS technology, practicality, and safety. So you have competitors that might have different versions of GPS software, but Garmin is the world leader and is really trusted. That's what they do. So other people, it's a secondary thing they do. This is a primary thing they do. So we think that the practicality and safety for people who truly rely on GPS technology, not just to find a place to eat when they're already downtown, we think that's going to be a really key for you moving forward to differentiate yourselves. So in the short term, first of all, we're going to choose to keep all those current factory facilities. So we believe that it's a competitive advantage for you to have all your stuff in your control. You know the number of facilities, you know what you can do with them, you know how you can differentiate your products. If you outsource this, it's going to create a lot more issues if you want to potentially change something in an ever-changing environment. So we did not think that was the right choice for you. We are going to conduct an audit of the factory process to identify potential bottlenecks and areas for improvement. So you have very variance in the utilization, so we need to fix that. We need to make sure that someone who's in there, an expert, who knows what is going wrong, and we can fix that to make it much more consistent so there's less wasted time and less wasted money that's going into those factories. So then we're going to begin research and development to address those processes that our audit identifies. So we're going to spend some money on potential new technology, fixing your old technology, and make sure that what's going on in those factories is the best it can possibly be as you compete with some of the biggest companies in the world. And then we're also going to switch our focus from the dashboard mount that you currently provide with the automobile industry. We're going to focus on working with car companies to work on those contracts. So most people who want a GPS now, they have it in their car. It's where they want it. It's easier. You don't have to worry about sticking it to the window and pulling it off and having those little rings there. And so it's going to be much easier there to work directly with those car companies. So you're going to start we have some contact with them face-to-face, make sure that your executives are talking to theirs, so they know that it's a very important thing for Garmin, and you really value their business. And so we're going to move that into the automobile industry to hopefully grow that and prevent losing out as most people put their phone on their dash line and completely circumvent your current product. So moving forward here, we're going to arrange those meetings with those executives, and then we're going to design the B2B product for those car companies based on what the feedback we get from them. So we obviously need their expertise in the car industry, so we need to know what they want and what helps them and what's going to make it best for them to use our product and help grow the automobile industry on this profitable area even more so. And then we're going to implement those factory improvements. So after we've done some R&D there, we're going to make sure that we implement those. We're going to do it with your CEO visiting the factory. So those factories in Taiwan are where you're experiencing the problems. In Taiwan, there's a large power distance as well as a lot of collectivism. So we really think it's important that if you have the CEO there with the people who are going to be implementing it, with the managers, we think it'll really be key for them to understand the purpose of this from the really get and really feel motivated to help improve the business. So we think it's very important that they are going to be there. And then a really cool thing that we think we have for you is we're going to begin research and development on some black boxes in the air industry. So currently black boxes, as in the news, when something like a tragedy happens, they're often very hard to recover. There's often many issues with what's going on and what truly happened. There's technology that we believe we can capitalize on that constantly sends information back to an air traffic control or to an intended purpose. So this would allow for you to track where the plane went, the speed, the conditions, which also has efficiencies in the industry. So we believe by doing this, we capitalize on somewhere where lots of competitors aren't and where you're not going to face the same stiff competition with an innovative product that they're not currently using. In doing that, we're going to target new aircrafts that are being produced as well as newer airlines, as it's going to be very capital intensive for a major airline to implement something totally different. So we think we could start there and grow this into a much bigger business for you moving forward. It's going to be much more sustainable with much less competition than the current industries you're in. Moving forward here, we're going to design some customer products to fit more outdoorsman needs and wants. So with the industry, those are people who aren't going to be interested in Apple Watch and a Fitbit as much. They need something that's going to be reliable for them. If they're out hiking, if they're out skiing the back trails, if they're out doing things like that, this is going to be key to them. This is going to be most important and most effective for you as a GPS company to really capitalize on moving forward because of the instability in the industry. People can't use their phone and use second-rate GPS systems to do this. This is where you are the prime supplier, and this is where people really are going to want to see the value. So then we're going to conduct some market research to make sure that as we market those new products that we're introducing, we're doing it effectively and not wasting money. And then we're going to build a marketing plan for these products. So moving forward into that marketing plan, we're going to target we give a couple examples. So that would be Rugged Roger in the United States and North America, and Back Trails Bjorn in Northern Europe. So here's some people at age 25, they're active people, and they're going to be, they love to hike, maybe hunt, explore, they love to do things that are off the back roads. They're not just going to be able to have their iPhone and look at maps and know where they're going. This is going to be something where Garmin is truly going to be differentiated. And so they prefer functionality over aesthetics. So what you have is functionality. We're not going to compete with Apple making a sleek product like that. That's what they have. They have much more capital, they have much more ability to do that. That is not going to be a good idea. So we're going to focus on the functionality, and that's where we're going to really add the value here. And so we're gonna put those ads on outdoor websites, magazines, some pay-per-click ads on YouTube videos along there as well. And so it's gonna be a 6-month campaign to really show that we're adjusting these. And so some of those products, for example, could be these GPS that implement all-terrain vehicles, snowmobiles, things like that, where you might not want to have to reach in your phone if it's cold, you're snowmobiling, or you're on an ATV, you can just look down and it's right there. So now Emily will take you through some of our longer-term implementations and important future considerations for Garmin.
Right, so after that first year, we've got everything set up. We're going to focus on those sales of those black boxes. As Braxton mentioned, we're going to target smaller airlines and new startups first because of the issues with the length of time implemented for larger airlines. And then we also want you to sort of take this technology that you have and develop a program to help other countries that may not have access to the same resources be able to use this technology for safety and those types of things. And as well, continuing to monitor that factory utilization, continuously reporting, continuously looking at those reports to see whether all those processes are staying in place, whether everything is maintaining the efficiency that is working for you. And so moving into risk mitigations, Leon will go through some of those for you.
Thank you, Emily. So with any go-forward strategy, obviously there are going to be risks that are present. However, we've identified some that we see would be apparent and how to mitigate them. So the very first one is that the stock price doesn't increase as you expect. And that might happen. Investors are, see a large initial investment, and that can be scary to them. However, what we see here is an opportunity for your co-founders that already own a large stake in the company to buy more shares yet, while they're still inexpensive. And so they can claim, 50% of equity if they like, and then they've got more ability to acquire financing in the future if they wanted to pursue an acquisition or another large initial investment project. The second risk we have here is that the new products aren't received particularly well in the new market, and what we have here is a strategy that adds more money into research and development from the very get-go of our plan here. And so really the mitigation would be to continuously develop new products until the consumers really find one that they like, right? And so we believe that those would really cover bases there. So what have we done for you today? We've created a strategy that's looking forward into the future. We're going to make sure that Garmin is at the forefront of the trends, of the technology, and of the GPS industry always. And so we thought it was really important that we reiterated our suggested vision statement for the company going forward. To be the trusted world leader in GPS technology, practicality, and safety. At this time, we'd love to field any questions you have.
We take a look at your implementation schedule. In month 8, you've got conduct market research after you design consumer products. So can you explain the timing of that?
So we want to get started on these consumer products right away, as we want to make sure that we're basing some of the market research that we're doing off of what's developed. So we obviously want to start into the areas we listed for research and development. We don't know exactly where it's going to go, so we want to make sure that we have some of those products identified before basing something around them, so that we're effectively marketing and we're really effectively getting that product to the target market that we've identified.
Can you share what percentage of revenue you anticipate from the aviation and the black boxes, and then what percentage from the new consumer products you're going to be implementing?
We haven't been able to project the revenue of those new products yet, particularly because still research and development, we wouldn't know exactly the market that they'd be able to go after, which is actually part of the implementation itself is the defining the market and seeing what sales would be present for those particular products. However, the implementation as a whole, we believe, can bring the revenue growth year over year back up to 9% as it was leading into last year.
The presentation, just a quick question. So that you're focusing on automotive, what do you see is the impact of self-driving or autonomous vehicles coming as a trend, and how does that affect the company like Garmin, and what should we position? I didn't see that in the presentation, but was that looked at the problem?
It's a very good question, actually. Obviously, with self-driving cars, they're going to need a GPS system because that's just the nature of how they work. And so with Garmin being the gold standard for GPS, we believe that they could be a highly sought after, you could be a highly sought after GPS provider for self-driving cars moving forward.
Just to leapfrog off of that, so currently Google is obviously the farthest along in developing these cars. Should that technology be developed and then be able to be marketed to the general public, there's going to be those laws and things put in place. All sorts of car companies are then going to need to develop the technology that they don't currently have. And so we believe by focusing on Garmin as a premium GPS provider and the best GPS provider, that those premium car companies would be looking to someone like us to really make sure that they have the best technology there for those self-driving cars.
That might be good to include that in the market plan.
Can you share a little bit more about, in your vision statement, having a tough time seeing how practicality really ties into your vision of being premium, leader in an industry, gold standard, but then also practicality being one of the focuses for the vision as well?
So the practicality piece is more focused on the fact that those algorithms, they need something that's really going to really is going to be reliable for them. We need practicality in the sense of something quick and easy. We need something in the sense that it's going to work, it's going to be reliable, and there's going to be no question that it's going to make sure it keeps you safe if you're in the backtrails, if you're in the woods. And so that's what that was focused on, as far as you not trying to compete with aesthetics or compete with a million apps on your iPhone. You were focused on that core demographic, and that's your strength, and that's what you want to play to continue.
Also a question on the risk mitigation. When you started off with the premise that the company has a strong cash position, some of the recommendations were to continue to invest, and there's also the risk that the new products might not be well received in the market. That might quickly change the cash position of the company. So were there further thoughts into what would be some risk mitigation measures rather than what was presented, continuously monitor and develop new products to the success? Is that part of risky gaming?
So the way we see the balance sheet and the R&D going into new products is that, so if you take the first risk and follow it, and the company has a larger equity position and secures a better way to secure financing in the future, then currently I believe it's $487 million in cash and cash equivalents on the balance sheet right now. So it won't be it will be a very long time at this rate before Garmin is in a poor cash position going into R&D. So in that situation, if the company gets more equity, then you could find more financing for the future R&D ventures.